Hello again, everyone. Edwin Lerner back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Pluto Sextile, or Trine the Ascendant, in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started the YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects in the natal chart. They're a little bit concise. Some people may refer to them as snappy. So what I decided to do is make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is if you have Pluto Sextile or Trine the Ascendant in a natal chart, you may easily find the passion, desire, and emotional intensity, which is Pluto, associated with matters with the physical body and appearance, which is the Ascendant. So if you have, let's say, if the Ascendant is in Libra, it may be about keeping the body, physical body, attractive. The Ascendant in Libra can indicate, someone has a physical body that's tall, elegantly formed. Appearance may be very balanced, may have a very attractive appearance. The Ascendant in Taurus can often have a strong, kind of stocky, sturdy kind of build, but tends to be shorter in stature. Ascendant in Sagittarius can be athletic in terms of their physique, but heavy, but can also be heavy as well. Now, also, too, Pluto Sextile or Trine the Ascendant can also manifest in having little difficulty in terms of reinventing, which is Pluto the Self, which is the Ascendant, if necessary, and that could be wide divergence of things, whether Pluto, talk about reinventing the self, it could simply be through some, being able, to do something different, in general, in your life, whether, it could be some, it could be a position somewhere, as far as, or, certain, getting, having some other, emphasizing some other abilities, or, finding some other work, in your life, manifest, doing, finding just something different that you may be proficient in if something else hasn't worked out, being, in terms of, the success or what have you in it. If the Ascendant, say, is in Gemini, as an example, Gemini, rising tends to be very versatile and adaptable, so that could even indicate more ease in terms of one's ability to reinvent the self, and it could be, by doing something, different, in a Gemini-related field. It could be something with data or satellite communications or writing, journalism, reporting, something that requires manual dexterity, such as auto refrigeration mechanics, as some examples. And also, to Pluto Sextile or Trine the Ascendant can indicate that the transformation, which is Pluto, of the physical body, which is the Ascendant, may be done easily. And, the transformation of the physical body, may be done, in manifold ways, whether it could be through working out vigorously. In many cases, that's, what help transform the physical body. If the Ascendant is in Taurus, as an example, it may be done in a very, the transformation may be done in a very methodical, deliberate, and plotting manner with very strong, latent energy, strong powers of endurance, with a lot of persistence, patience, and perseverance, as some examples. And also, too, these aspects can, suggest readily, balancing activities with those who are in intimate relationships, shared resources situations, which is Pluto, and those that figured prominently in your early childhood, which is the Ascendant. So, let's say, for example, if you have, your Ascendant, in the zodiac sign Cancer, those that figured prominently, one or more of those people that figured prominently in your early childhood may actually be a Cancer sun, moon, or Ascendant person. or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be those that are rather sympathetic, empathetic, nurturing, caring, protective, tenacious, dedicated, devoted, maybe rather emotional and sensitive, can be, but at the same time can be very, moody, fickle, and temperamental as well. And also, too, these aspects can indicate being passionate, which is Pluto, regarding new beginnings, which is the Ascendant, without being overly obsessed or fixated, which is Pluto, with them. Now, if you have, let's say, the Ascendant is in Leo as an example, new beginnings, maybe they're done with some Leo ferocity or a very passionate manner. It could be, could be done. New beginnings may be connected, with something Leo related, whether it be something with entertainment, acting, circus performing, cardiology, work that involves children, creativity, the military, sports, as some examples. And also to a grandparent and people prominent in the early childhood, which is the Ascendant, may be beneficial in terms of you making some major, change or transformation, or even dealing with a crisis situation, which is Pluto. Now, if Pluto is in the 4th house as an example, crisis situations may often be connected with the home and matters with safety and security and protection. If Pluto, say, is in the is in the 6th house, it may be more of a health-related situation. Could be something with work or employment. Pluto in the 8th house may be more connected with crime in general, or something involves insurance situation, or something connected with an intimate relationship, or somebody in a could be some shared resources situation, as some examples. Pluto in the 7th house may involve some open adversary. Now, another thing too is that you may be able to outwardly express, which is the Ascendant, power and control, which is Pluto, without coming across as overly domineering or controlling. So, I mean, these aspects can be very, auspicious for that, and, it could just be simply, if you have, Pluto in the 6th house, it could be exhibiting, the power and control, at one's place of employment. Pluto in the 5th house could be in matters pertaining to children and one's love life, as another example. And also, too, these aspects can be auspicious for having, an ability, to empower and transform, which is Pluto, others. And, and you could, in doing so without, coming across as being controlling regarding it, or, overly, trying to manipulate somebody into, doing something. It's more, it could be more about just empowering them and, to one's benefit, being able to transform somebody or their life for the better. So, it could be, if Pluto is in the 7th house, it could be done. It could be people that, important friends, or maybe a significant other or marriage partner. If Pluto is in the 12th house, it could be people that, are in less fortunate situations, such as the impoverished, the oppressed, the homeless, or the hungry, or people that are imprisoned, as another example. And also, too, crime, which is Pluto, you may have dealt with, likely won't, adversely affect, your outlook on life and the outer demeanor, which is the Ascendant. So, if the Ascendant, is in Taurus, as an example, the outer demeanor may be one that's very stable and steady and calm and placid, and, crime that one may have had to deal with may not adversely effect that. If the ascendant is in Sagittarius is another example, the outer demeanor, maybe one that's rather exuberant, jovial, jocular, enthusiastic, and crime that one may have had to deal with likely won't adversely affect how one would come across to others. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying, stay well.